You know, recently we spoke about strike assistance, about being prepared. You know, our union meeting, we tried to share and break down where we're truly at. We're at a crossroads, I believe, with Ford Motor Company. I think GM is in the same situation. But UAW has to continue to hang our hat on providing health care, a living wage, fair and equitable positions within the plant, reduce to almost eliminate TPT and STS abuse. And it's affecting us too far in the plants. The bargainers and the collective bargaining unit and the building chairpersons, they're doing everything they can. However, it's just watered down the work rule so much where we've got to get a handle on it. While I'm not in the collective bargaining side of the house, I'm still an alternate national negotiator. We are lucky from our local union to have John Jaggers. John Jaggers is a national negotiator, currently getting ready to start up negotiations. And one important thing about these negotiations, and we want the membership to know that the GM negotiators for UAW, the UAW Ford negotiators, Chrysler FCA, all the negotiators for the first time ever are going to open up all three of the collective bargaining agreements. They're going to do it in a 2-day period. They're all going together. And if you remember back to the Constitution Convention, it was "We are one." You can sit back, you can process that information. Some people might bring it to a personal understanding. Some might have question, and that's rightfully so. As a membership, we should be able to share exactly everything that's going on, everything our members need to know when it comes to strike assistance and what's going to happen to prepare for these negotiations. I hope and pray you're saving money. I don't want to scare the membership, but I want the membership to be prepared. Your family is just as important as my family. We are an entire family unit, this local union. I encourage you, if you have the wherewithal and the ability, if you can help another family member that you know that's working at Ford Motor Company, if we happen to go on strike and you can go buy groceries and you can pick 1 or 2 people out to help them out, I encourage that if you can. But we need to be ready. Anything can happen. One thing at the national negotiating team, when they sat down in our last Nat Ford meeting, Roy Gamble, old school, he's our vice president of UAW Ford. He said, we're going to go old school. And we're going to get some equality, and we're going to fight for these things that's been broken for a while. And we need to fix this. And we're going to do it at any and all cost. But there's a lot of things that can happen. Our membership needs to know that we could possibly not be the unit that goes on strike. KTP could end up going on strike if necessary, and it was brought upon and called upon, and we got to that point in negotiations. It could be KTP, KCAP. It could be DTP, Dearborn, Kansas City. So, you know, it could be one or the other or both, but no matter what happens, we need to protect one another. If one unit's working because they're not being the plant put on strike and they're going to strike another unit or they strike all their units, we need to support that. Also, coming up in negotiations, we really need to understand what's going on in the automotive industry. It's becoming more and more competitive. Does that mean that we have to take concessions? No. Does that mean that we need to be strategic in what we do? Yes. There's only one pie. One of the favorite building chairmen I've ever knew, he actually gave my start, Dickie Sutton. He said there's one pie, and you can only divide that pie up in so many ways. If the company is profitable, you can get some of that pie and increase those slices or move money around. So we have to be strategic in what we do for our membership, but there's things that we do need to fix, and we understand that, and it's vital to do so. But looking back at what the company has done in the past, scare tactics, I don't put it past Ford Motor Company for a minute that they wouldn't send letters out to the STSs and TPTs saying, we no longer need you anymore, you're terminated, employment's terminated. But we have talked and we have spoke and we have carried that voice loudly to the UAW National Ford Department, and they said we will not go back in unless our TPTs and STSs go back in. And you know what? I have a strong feeling that a lot of those TPTs and STSs are going to be changing in their titles because we're going to fix it. We're not going to eliminate it totally, because they've been there for a long time, but the company has taken more and more opportunity to abuse their ability to have TPTs in the workforce. So we got to get the integrity, we got to get the honor of having a full-time job. I can't ask you to come to work and support your union every day if you can't come to work knowing that you got a guaranteed job to go back to your family and take care of your family. not knowing whether you want to make the next step because you've been a temporary employee for 3 years. It's unacceptable. We got to fix it, and our national leadership is stepping up behind us. But we do want our membership to know that these times that are coming, we're going to be prepared. We're going to strike training. We got one coming up in August. We're going to have our July strike assistance training. It'll be our second training here at the Louisville Assembly Plant Union Hall. Some ask why we do it here. The facility is larger, so we have the ability. Our last negotiations that we had, our last contract, there was over 500 members. We couldn't get 500 members into KTP. But the idea is to give the best picture that we know how, to put that perimeter of protection, that hedge of protection around our local union, and give as much information as possible to members so they can be prepared. Brothers and sisters, all I can tell you is I love you, and Brother Sanders says you can't do nothing about it. However, we need to understand the true, basic, low-hanging fruit of a union and of our union. Brothers and sisters, we wouldn't have what we got if it wasn't for that contract. So that contract is so important to stand up for, and if we have to strike, to get what's right, because it's in black and white. The benefits that you receive now in the plant, whether it be vacation, whether it be time off without pay for education, whether it's health care. Just last night at the union meeting, Julie Ice spoke to us. She had a double lung transplant. $500, I think, is what she said she paid for her whole procedures over her time. It was a $3 million, it could have been a $5 million, I don't know what it was, but it was an extraordinary amount of money. That's a benefit that Ford Motor Company didn't just decide to give to you. It was fought and paid for by the blood, sweat, and tears of retirees that's come before us. If you just sit back and do your plus and minus chart and understand how important it is to go vote for that contract, whether it's a good contract or you feel that it's not, and whether it is to stand up and be willing to go on that picket line, you've got to do it, because if you don't, it's all gone in vain.